have been with the juvenile department for about 17 years. I've been working with youth for about 21 years. Right now, the juvenile department, we're kind of making some changes that are really exciting that I'll share with you. My staff is 4.5 people. We have myself, we have an office manager, I have 2 probation officers and a part-time community service worker. They're pretty amazing staff because if you think we have 4.5 people and we are a 24/7 agency. If a call comes in or a youth is picked up at 2 in the morning, it's the 4.5 of us who have to make things happen. So my priority is to make my staff happy and to keep them with the juvenile department. I prefer they all retire there. We've had some new babies join our crew and some maternity leaves, and so we've been pretty creative, but they've all returned. We just received a grant from the state of Oregon from OHA to get a prevention specialist, and the prevention specialist is actually going to be for the entire county, adults, juvenile, everybody. They're going to come in and help plan. I think we're going to take a new plan on opiates and maybe see what we can do to put some preventive measures in. That person will start on the 21st. Extremely excited about that. Usually we supervise about 50 youth in Curry County. COVID had things a little crazy there for a while. I think there was about a 12-month period where we had 1 referral, pretty typical of all the counties throughout the state of Oregon. But so right now we got about 37, but we do violation cases, we do prevention cases, and then we do high-level sex offender cases and felony cases as well. How referrals work into our department is law enforcement goes out and they might cite a youth. For us right now, it's between the ages of 11 and 17. Referral comes to the juvenile department. The case is staffed with the district attorney to decide where we are legally. We are restorative justice in the juvenile department, which is absolutely amazing. The state of Oregon made a change about 12 years ago, and instead of locking kids up and having it be punishment, we want restorative justice. We want to see what skills they need that we can provide to them so they're a productive member of society. And so we do a lot of work in prevention, drug and alcohol education. We work with families, we work with partners, with counseling. If we can get them at the very beginning and give them those skills, then hopefully we don't get more referrals. So the idea is 1 referral, we don't want any more referrals. So any process that we can do to help. Now, we have to be really creative in Curry County. Our resources are pretty limited. So, we have 1 mental health provider, 1 drug and alcohol provider, and that type of thing. So everybody works very well. We work with a team approach. We brainstorm what the youth needs. There's a reason I work with youth, and I've been doing it for 21 years, is it's very rewarding. I don't believe there's bad kids. I believe we make bad choices sometimes, and then we have to learn how we make that better. So that's really what we focus on. Years and years and years ago, we had kids in detention all the time. We just don't see that anymore. There's usually other ways that we can protect the community. If we teach them resources, no such thing as scared straight in the juvenile system. I remember the days where you walked a kid through prison and scared them so they would never do this again. We don't do that anymore. We figure out why we have those behaviors, and then we see what we can do to prevent that and to educate them. Our community service program is pretty amazing because we're getting away from the days of parading them alongside the road to where we want to give them skills. If a youth has 40 hours of community service because they stole a whole bunch of stuff from Fred Meyer, we might get some education classes for them. We might go get them a job, and every hour on their time card can go to community service. I'd rather have them work than pick up garbage. We're now partnering with some other agencies where we will do, like the state of Oregon has flagger class. You can get a flagger class in lieu of community service, food handlers cards, all those skills that are pro-social and bring back good things to our community. So we really focus on that type of thing. We do parenting guides, we do parenting classes. Some of it is just generational, so we really want to try to break that gap. It's pretty typical if we have a kid that comes with us about 15 or 16 years old, haven't been to school in about 2 years, very few people in the family work, if any, and they have just kind of learned to live off the system. So Again, it's really retraining them that anybody can get secondary education, anybody can go to college, anybody can do a trade school. We went over to Roseburg, where there's a trade school over there. We take any kids that are interested. We work with the military to line them up. Background checks are a little easier right now. It used to be where if you even got caught with an MIP at 13, you couldn't go into the military. And now they're working and doing waivers for youth. The youth have to kind of step up and show some clean UAs, but gives them an opportunity to still do that. We do job searches, and we do a lot of mediation work with victims. Sit down with your victim, face-to-face with your victim, and a lot of times that helps to understand so you don't do that again. So that's kind of, I mean, I think everybody understands supervision in the juvenile justice world. Our mission is really community safety and restorative justice. Yes?
We used to have the lowest rate of recidivism in the state. Is that still?
Yeah, I think we were at about 2%, and I think we're probably just a little bit higher. And Measure 110 has kind of hit us extremely hard. Somewhere in Measure 110, at the very bottom, a couple inches from the top, or a couple lines that says this measure includes juveniles. And it really blindsided everybody. And in the 21 years I've been doing this, I've never seen our youth in Curry County in such a crisis as that we are right now. So we do have kids who are reoffending. We are struggling to find the resources. When we work with juveniles, kids unfortunately don't just walk in, or they don't tell mom and dad, or they don't call an 800 number and say, sign me up for treatment. That's what I need. I have 4 kids right now in treatment. We might have 1 kid a year in treatment in the past. You know, I have moms call me. My 15-year-old is on heroin. That's never a phone call I figured I would get while I was in the juvenile justice world here, and there's nothing we can do about it. Law enforcement cannot arrest him. They can give him a citation with an 800 number, and it's just not working for our kids. It's just not working. We had 1 residential treatment provider that we could use over in Roseburg. The other one closed down. They're getting ready to open back up, but the need is so high. Right now, we're using a tribal NARA out of the Portland area, but kids are then going 7 hours away from home for residential treatment. So it has really changed everything in the juvenile justice world. We have directors meetings where we're all discussing it. It's happened through all of us. I don't think anybody realized that this would be the impact of something like that. I mean, not only are they using it, I mean, it's just everywhere. It's easy to get. The adults have it. So now we have kids trying drugs. I mean, I didn't dream that I'd see, you know, we do random UAs on our youth, and we're having cocaine and heroin. We have a couple kids who have been on acid, and they're in states of psychosis. We're hoping that they come back to normality. So that's, I think, the one piece of gloom and doom in the juvenile justice world, but we're going to fight back with everything we have. We are trying to be creative. We're going to do what we can do. I'm hoping that somewhere down the road, some things change. There's a committee at higher levels trying to go in and see if we can do some sort of reform to fix the devastation of what happened. It's just, if kids aren't court ordered, if they went on their own, we wouldn't end up with them in that situation. If mom could get them, or they could go to treatment on their own, they wouldn't end up in the juvenile justice system needing those resources. So that is just the one piece that we're really struggling with, and I know law enforcement's struggling with it too, because who would have ever dreamed that, you know, you and I would be having this conversation right now. In the past, if a kid had heroin on them, that they would be cited. We would get them detoxed, and we would find a program for them to get into. We don't have that kind of treatment here locally to be able to do. So we're all working very, very hard. But that's the one piece that I think is really testing everybody right now, is how do we fix that? We're doing some other really exciting stuff though that I want to make sure that I share. We work with Gold Beach Main Street, talking about our community service kids and doing proactive stuff. You'll notice that there's benches in front of the courthouse. We've used our kids. We've redone some of the lawn work out there. The courthouse will now take it over, but our kids planted, they pulled weeds, they helped install benches, so it's been a fantastic program for them. Just was doing emails with the city, and the juvenile department's taking over the Buffington Park Garden. And so we're gonna get our kids down there, we're gonna teach them some skills, that'll be community service work, and we'll get the garden back up and going, and be working with some of the other organizations providing food and that type of thing. Litter patrol, if you know any kids that are looking for summer job or somebody who's looking for just a little seasonal job, ODOT contacted us 2 years ago, and the state of Oregon used to have litter patrol go up and down the roads. When COVID hit, they weren't able to hire, so we did. This will be our 3rd year. They've offered us the full contract. We're going to be hiring 4 youth at $16 an hour and an adult to supervise them at $22 an hour. They make excellent money. It's 4 10s, and we just put the applications out, so it's an amazing opportunity for some kids to get a really good salary. We get them work boots, we get them lunch boxes, we get them work clothes, and then they teach and we mentor, and we then partner with the state. And last year, some pretty amazing things happened. Sometimes on social media, we'd say somebody dumped a fridge, somebody dumped a mattress. Our kids owned that. They would get into the truck and they would go find it and they would load it up and we would haul it off and get rid of it. So it was nice to teach them that. And it's an excellent income. Anybody that wants to come from last year always has the first step to take a job again this year. We have started an in-home UA program in the confidence of your own home, so anybody in this county can come get a little bag from us, and you can take it home, and if your kid has a problem, it can be dealt with confidentially. You can seek your own treatment, something that through COVID we needed, but it also makes it to where you don't always have to call law enforcement. If your kid is struggling, you can get resources that way. When I talked about my amazing staff, we don't have the funds in the county. If anybody's watching budget committee stuff right now, they're trying to figure out where to cut budgets. I don't want to touch mine. But we don't have money in there for special things for our youth. So if I have a youth that can't play basketball because they can't pay the fee, or I have a youth that's in treatment in Portland and parents can't get there, if I have a youth that don't have socks, all the probation officers, us staff, we were buying what the kids needed, and after a while it got to be a little much. So my staff decided we would do fundraisers every year. So there's a ugly sweater walk that we just did, and we do stuff like that. My staff does it on their own time. They raise money. We've done Yahtzee tournaments, which now means, we have about $1,200 sitting there. So when our youth have special needs like that, we can take care of it. It doesn't have to go through the budget process. Taxpayers aren't paying for it. But our kids really need some stuff. And I mean, if anybody's familiar with, Maslow's theory, if we don't give our kids their basic needs, if they don't know where they're going to sleep, what they're going to eat, that they're going to have socks and they're going to have shoes, we can't expect them to worry about homework. That's just not reasonable. So that fund really helps do that. So that's a big thing that we're doing. This year we got a grant to do holiday stockings. So every kid that we've worked with last year was delivered by Santa and his elf a Christmas stocking full of personal hygiene items, and every single kid enjoyed the heck out of it. There was food in there. There was a couple little, maybe a $5 McDonald's gift card and a blanket, clean socks, shampoo and conditioner, but fantastic program that we did throughout the county. Santa was on the courthouse. So we really want to, it's not just about getting in trouble and consequences, it's about just really engaging them in some pro-social stuff. And they're really good little humans. And we need to give them a chance to bring back everything to our community. The biggest, most exciting thing that's happening this year is the juvenile department was in a tiny space on the top of the courthouse floor. Super bad, where we could eat lunch with our microwave was the same place we processed UAs for kids. It just wasn't good. It was horrible, but we were there. And so when the Colvin Street came open, we went and asked permission to move over there. They gave us permission. So since about September, we have been working crazy to get moved in. We're moved in, and it is going to be Curry County Youth Services. We took juvenile justice completely out of it, and amazing things are going to happen there. Any youth in the whole county can get resources there. You walk in the front door, you're greeted by friendly staff. Every kid that walks in gets to enter a drawing for an Amazon card every month. We have GED classes now being offered, and they're offered twice a week. We are actually going to hope to expand those GED classes perhaps to some adults as it goes. We have a safety room there. A lot of times we deal with maybe a runaway or a kid in crisis, and they'd have to sit in the back of my car, which is a cage car, maybe all night where we're trying to find resources or trying to get them home, and it's just not a good setting. So again, we got a grant. There's a nice couch, there's a TV, there's a table. They can go sit in comfort and respect and wait while all the adults and the community partners try to figure out the crisis, solve it, get a parent here, get a grandparent here to take care of them. So super excited. We have a full kitchen, and OSU has agreed to maybe come in. We have a couple pregnant moms we're working with. We're going to do some cooking classes. Just, again, I can't, pro-social, pro-social, pro-social. They're our future, so we have to give them the skills to do that. We're going to have, I've been talking to Quebec to come in. We'll do some job training as well. We have a caring closet that has personal hygiene items. Any of the youth at any time can come get clothes, or a backpack that has shampoo, soap, conditioner, you name it. A lot of our kids are in situations where they would never ask for help, but they really need those things. So we are going to have an open house in May. I would encourage everybody to come through and take a peek. I think that's kind of it in the juvenile justice world. Then another exciting thing that's just happened is the juvenile department has taken over Curry County Parks. So with everything else we're doing, there's a little parks office in the youth services building. But the exciting part again is our kids, we're going to share an employee. One of my POs is going to be part-time PO, and he's going to be part-time parks and community service. So again, our kids are going to learn skills. They're going to learn what to do at parks. They're going to learn how to build a bridge. They're going to learn to work on plumbing. They're going to learn a little bit about the park system, which will give them skills, saves the county a lot of money if we all work together and do it right. And so Boyce Cove and Lobster Creek, we're doing some cleaning up on there. They're both going to be open and running. Most of them are already fully booked for the summer. Just need a little elbow grease. We'll be getting in doing some cabin work and that type of thing. But I think we can see some really exciting partnerships between the juvenile department and parks. And it was that way about 3 or 4 years ago. It's been under the juvenile department for a long time. Excellent partnership. You share tools, you share cars, you share expenses, and it really saves money for everybody. I did want to share a little, right before I came here, I was looking in the parks file though, and I found this really interesting MOU that I just wanted to throw out to the Rotary Club because it was super interesting. It was from 2015, and it was a MOU between Curry County Parks and Rotary of Gold Beach. And it was where Rotary of Gold Beach, on one of their service projects, actually spent a couple days up at Lobster Creek before they opened and did a little kind of in-kind work, helped work on the little cabins and that kind of stuff. So I just thought I would throw that out there. That's a pretty amazing program. And if Rotary was ever interested in doing any kind of work like that with us in the future, we would be very interested in anything like that. I firmly believe, and studies show, it takes one caring adult to change a child. One caring adult. You can take somebody who's high level and has been offending for years, and it just takes one person to care, to see if they're in school, to help them out, to ask about a shower, to make sure they have food, to make sure they're safe, and we can see a big change in that. So some of our kids who we weren't really sure about, they're back, they're here, they're working, they're amazing humans, they're amazing parents. So it's a very rewarding job. Yes?
So I'm amazed that sounds like you are really working hard with 4.5 staff. That's a huge undertaking because right in the past it was...
When I came on board, there were 16 employees at the juvenile department. Yeah. And the numbers, I mean, of course, our population has went down, so the numbers have went down, but the crazy part is the needs have went up.
Yeah.
So, yep.
Was Karen Endall Who was the director then?
Ken Duque was there when I was there. Yep.
Okay. And so your services are ages 11
To 17.
to 17, but so what happens if there's a child who needs help that's 10? How
So
do-
we will still take the referral. We look at what's called RAP services. So what we look at is we say what resources, and we have several. We have several right now that are out of control at school and they've really tried everything. So we bring a team together. We will bring the school together, we'll bring mental health together, we'll bring DHS together and our staff. And we're saying, what do we need to do to make sure that they can get the resources, they don't end up in the juvenile world? And there's a RAP, behavioral health offers RAP services. And so we just get them a team, we try to work with the family to prevent that. Yeah.
What mental health resources do we have in the county?
We now have ADAPT, who's been here since January. And so they're growing, they're getting their staff deeper to where they can take all our referrals. We kind of flooded them at the beginning with all the referrals that we have. We have some tribal youth, so we also have services from the tribe that we can use. We have school counselors, and then we provide a lot of like the educational, we do skill building, we do anger management, we do the drug and alcohol education piece, and we really, there's Freedom Healthcare that also does some mental health. It's really tough to find though, so we find a lot of our work is trying to find the resources, making the referrals, and then getting them there. I mean, we can make an appointment, but we're driving. We're doing a lot of parenting.
Wendy, who
Yeah.
is ADAPT?
So it's the ADAPT is the drug and alcohol behavioral health provider in Douglas County and Coos. They've been doing it for years and amazing at what they do. Like when we send kids to Roseburg right now, it's called Deer Creek, it's a residential youth facility, ADAPT runs that.
Okay.
They run adult services in Coos County as well. So as of January 1st, they're moving into Curry. So not reinventing the wheel, they've done it. They're just really trying to get staff, trying to find a building to rent. So they are up and running. It's just kind of been slow going for them, trying to get fully
Physically, do they
staffed.
have a space?
What was that?
Do they actually have a physical space in Curry County?
They do. They just moved into, I believe it's on Worth Street in Brookings. They've been there since the 7th of April, super new. Very small location in Gold Beach, and they are by appointment at the Blue Building in Port Orford. Yes.
So another question I have, probably should run this by the club, but it sounds like high-end health funds would be should be available for.
Talk about that.
Yeah, and this community has been so supportive of youth services. We've received several small grants in the past. One of the big needs we have is anytime a kid has a sex offense, they need an evaluation by a specialist. And the closest place is Coos Bay or Grants Pass, and it's very expensive, and insurance doesn't cover it. So OHP doesn't cover it. So we've received grants before, which helps us cover social sexual evaluations to make sure that the appropriate treatment is given for any youth who need that type of services. So we've been, and the UAs, that was an all-care health grant we got. We are super lucky that it's very supportive, the community's very supportive of the youth services that we need.
Wendy?
Yes.
Do you still, I understand the direction and it's sort of the positive approach on youth. Is there still a need from time to time to have youth in detention? And do we have a detention contract with Del Norte or some other
Yep.
place?
We have a Del Norte detention contract, and it's for 100 beds, which I had used by November 15th. COVID's done a number on between COVID and Measure 110, we have some kids in serious crisis right now. So we also use Josephine County and Douglas County detentions. If we know it's going to be a long stay, we could put a youth over in one of those facilities while they're maybe waiting 2 weeks for court or something like that, or we're waiting for a placement to open up. Del Norte is so close that we do contract with them. We will use over 200 beds this year. Easy, and a lot of it's kind of waiting for placement, stabilizing them. Unfortunately, that's sometimes the only detox we have, but if we have a kid on hard drugs, they have to be safe. They have to be safe. And so sometimes that need is there as well. And we work to try to keep kids in the community. But if we get a youth, it starts off informal. If you get an MIP right now, if you get caught with alcohol or marijuana, you go through our program, you get clean, you get educated, you take some UAs, you go back to the judge, you close successful, and it doesn't have to stay on your record. It's not going to affect anything if you're successful. You're going to get some tools and some skills. But if you work up, or we have some felony crimes, or you've got some sex offenses or something like that, we might get to the point where we have to look at placement outside Curry County. If we're community safety and we don't have the resources that child needs to be successful, we would look at the Oregon Youth Authority, and the Oregon Youth Authority has some amazing programs that specialize in what those children need. I mean, it's just stuff that we don't have a lot of resources here, and we want to make sure they get everything they need. Or community safety. If we have a kid who just reoffended 7 times, and it's now person-to-person crime, and they're breaking into homes, they can't be at the community anymore until they figure out the skills to not do that.
What exactly is Measure 110?
It took the crime out of the heroin and
Decriminalize
Oh,
hard
okay.
possession.
yeah, but
Right.
like I said, and so it used to be a crime for a youth to have heroin or cocaine, methamphetamine. So it is, if you're 15 and you get caught with heroin, they're gonna write you a ticket and they're gonna send you
That's
home.
right, okay.
Yeah, yep. Even if everybody's seeking help, that's how it's going to happen, so.
You talked about Douglas County. In the old days, they had the Pittsburgh Waste Ranch, and I think that went away.
Yeah, we have Baloney Boys Ranch out of Brookings, or out of Coos Bay right now. Yep. And a lot of the residential places aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
But to get those services, you would probably have to go to Oregon Youth Authority to do that. We use the residential programs. We have Rimrock, which is over in Prineville.
Oh,
It's a fantastic program, but through COVID, they closed for almost 2 years. Just reopened. And then Deer Creek out of Roseburg, they're great. I like the programs. They're not, it looks like a house. If you drove by, you would think it was a Victorian home on the street in Roseburg, and kids learn, how to get natural highs. They learn their talents. They learn that you don't fail there. If you fail your math, you come in the next day and you get, tutored, and then you pass your math. We just had a young man come out, and I think he got 2.5 credits in 90 days. He hasn't done that in 3 years of high school. I mean, you're just successful. You're very, very successful in those type of programs, and those type of programs we could use. We've got some tribal partners who are amazing as well, and offer those sort of resources also. And it's crazy because OHP pays for any of that type of stuff, but private insurance does not. So yeah, some of it's kind of backwards, so we have to be creative. And like I said, it's, we're in a little bit of crisis right now, but the one thing we can't do is we can't give up, and we can't say, well, here's all the trauma that's going on. We just have to be more creative. We have to find where else we dig to help the kids and what we need to do. When COVID hit, some of the kids who you'd never expect to have problems or are struggling. Kids who were going to go be state champs in wrestling, or kids who were going to, get a scholarship for track, and that all got taken away. They're devastated. So we've been doing some prevention work with some kids that, probably we wouldn't have seen. They've been so busy in school and sports, but when that left, the mental health piece jumped in. So, but like I said, it's my staff. My staff's amazing. I hope they all retire at the county. I'm very lucky. You have to enjoy working with youth. Matter of fact, this Friday, they're all coming we have to put a security system in our new building. So it's a community service project. So we have 6 youth coming to help us put our security system in the building. And they've let us know that, I guess yesterday was National Grilled Cheese Day. So we're gonna have National Grilled Cheese Day on Friday. We have a whole kitchen. So we're making all these kids grilled cheese, and they're gonna come in and learn how to install a security system. It's part of their community service project. There's no school this Friday. Right? Yeah. Yeah. So, so like I said, we're, you know, I don't, we want to be respectful. We want to respect what they're doing. We all make mistakes, and these young kids are doing some really good stuff. Really good stuff.
I just want to publicly acknowledge that you and your team are one of the few things in Curry County that truly works. And we can point out a million things that don't work because we're too small, or we're too far away, or we don't have enough. But you guys have a can-do attitude that never stops, and you're the, I know for all of my staff here and when I worked at the county, you guys are the ray of sunshine that we wanted to see show up because you made things better. So thank you.
Even at 2 a.m.
Even at 2 a.m.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm extremely lucky. I have an amazing staff. Extremely lucky, thank you. We love what we do.